नमस्कार. मी आनंद गानू, फाउंडर प्रेसिडेंट गर्जे मराठी ग्लोबल आणि श्री सुभाष गोरे, बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर, व्हाईस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ सॅटर्डे क्लब ग्लोबल ट्रस्ट. आम्ही आणि अशोक दुगाडे सरांच्या मार्गदर्शनाने आणि आशीर्वादाने आम्ही ही जी गोष्ट चालू केली आहे, की जगभरचे जे एंटरप्रेन्युअर्स असतील, जगभरचे जे थॉट लीडर्स असतील, जगभरचे जे आपापल्या क्षेत्रातले प्रगल्भ असे लोक असतील, त्यांना इंटरनेटद्वारे म्हणजे झूम लिंकद्वारे महाराष्ट्रातल्या सॅटर्डे क्लब ग्लोबल ट्रस्टचे जे एंटरप्रेन्युअर्स आहेत. आणि मी जेव्हा सॅटर्डे क्लबच्या लोकांना भेटतो तेव्हा नेहमी मला जाणवतं की देश चालवणारे लोक कोण आहेत, तर ते सॅटर्डे क्लबमधले लोकांमधल्या एंटरप्रेन्युअर्स सारखेच लोक आहेत. सो अशा लोकांचं एकमेकांशी भेट करून देणं, एकमेकांची विचारांची देवाणघेवाण करणं, जगभरच्या ग्लोबल अपॉर्च्युनिटीज जे आहेत बिझनेससाठी, प्रोग्रेससाठी, एंटरप्रेन्युअरशिपसाठी, त्या महाराष्ट्राला कळवणं आणि महाराष्ट्राच्या लोकांना जगात काय इंटरेस्ट आहे किंवा जगभरच्या लोकांना महाराष्ट्रात काय इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करता येईल, काय कोलॅबोरेशन करता येईल, ह्या हेतूनी ही आपण विचारांची देवाणघेवाण करण्याची सिरीज चालू केलेली आहे. आज आपलं भाग्य आहे की ह्यासाठी आपल्यातले सायबर सिक्युरिटी मधले ग्लोबली रेनाउंड असे एक्सपर्ट जे घरचे मराठीच्या बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स वरती फ्रॉम अवर इन्सेप्शन आहेत, असे श्री ललित शिंदेजी जॉईन झालेले आहेत. सो ललित शिंदेजी, वेलकम. आणि बिफोर वी स्टार्ट अवर मीटिंग, मी 2-3 गोष्टी पटकन सांगतो की लेट अस मेंटेन डिसिप्लिन. आपण सगळे प्रोफेशनली हायली ॲडव्हान्स लोक आहोत. आय डोंट हॅव टू टेल यू ऑल दोज थिंग्स. पण प्रत्येकाने शक्यतो वेळेवर जॉईन व्हा. आणि सगळ्यांना ही एक विनंती असेल की रजिस्ट्रेशन्स हे लिमिटेड असतात. सो ज्यांनी रजिस्ट्रेशन केलंय त्या सगळ्यांनी जॉईन झालंच पाहिजे, हा एक नियम ठेवा. हॅव्हिंग सेड दॅट, गर्जे मराठी विषयी एक छोटीशी गोष्ट थोडक्यात माहिती देतो की गर्जे मराठी हा जगभरच्या लोकांना एंटरप्रिनरशिपसाठी, नेटवर्किंगसाठी, गिव्हिंग बॅक टू सोसायटीसाठी, आपल्या लोकांचं कौतुक करण्यासाठी मराठी म्हणजे महाराष्ट्रीयन लोकांचा हा ग्रुप आहे. आम्ही 2016ला आमची संस्था स्थापन झालेली आहे. नॉन प्रॉफिट आहे. ॲज अ नॉन प्रॉफिट आम्ही भारतामध्ये, US मध्ये, कॅनडामध्ये, साऊथ आफ्रिकेमध्ये, कुवेटमध्ये, न्यूझीलंड, ऑस्ट्रेलिया अनेक ठिकाणी रजिस्टर्ड पण आहोत. सो आपण एकमेकांना मदत करून आपली स्वतःची प्रगती करत असताना आपल्या कम्युनिटीची, आपल्या महाराष्ट्राची, आपल्या देशाची कशी प्रगती करायची, ह्यासाठी हा ग्रुप स्थापन झालेला आहे. एवढं बोलून मी थांबतो आणि मी श्री सुभाष गोरे यांना 2 शब्द ॲज वेल ॲज सॅटर्डे क्लब ग्लोबल ट्रस्ट विषयी थोडीशी माहिती देण्यासाठी सांगतो. ओव्हर टू यू सुभाष.
येस, धन्यवाद आनंद सर. आणि नमस्कार सगळ्यांना. मी सुभाष गोरे. थोडा आनंद सरांना करेक्ट करतो. मगाशी त्यांनी माझा परिचय देताना, मी ॲक्च्युली सॅटर्डे क्लब ग्लोबल ट्रस्टचा डेप्युटी सेक्रेटरी जनरल आहे आणि मी एक्झिक्युटिव्ह कमिटीमध्ये काम करतोय आणि गेली 15 वर्ष झाले मी सॅटर्डे क्लबचा मेंबर आहे. आणि थोडक्यात सॅटर्डे क्लबबद्दल सांगायचं झालं तर माधवराव भिडे यांनी 2000 साली हा सॅटर्डे क्लब सुरू केला आणि आज आपण 25व्या वर्षात आहोत. सॅटर्डे क्लबचं सिल्वर ज्युबिली इयर सुरू आहे आणि जवळजवळ आपल्या क्लबचे 120च्या वर चॅप्टर्स आहेत. अगदी सुरत, बडोदा, इकडे इंदोरला पण आहे आणि निपाणीला कर्नाटकामध्ये आहे, महाराष्ट्रात सुद्धा आहे. असे 120 चॅप्टर्स आहे आणि जवळजवळ 5,500च्या वर आपले मेंबर्स आहेत. दर महिन्याला 2 मीटिंग्स आपल्या होतात. त्याच्यानंतर मेंबर्स आपापला बिझनेस इंट्रोड्यूस करतात, त्यांना काय हवे ते रेफरन्स मागतात आणि अशा प्रकारे भरपूर त्यांना बिझनेस मिळतो. काही जॉईंट व्हेंचर्स होतात, नवीन बिझनेस अपॉर्च्युनिटीज मिळतात. सो नेटवर्किंग आम्ही जास्तीत जास्त आमच्या मेंबर्सना करवतो या प्लॅटफॉर्मवरती. आणि आता गर्जे मराठीचे पण धन्यवाद की आमचा नुकताच एक MOU पण साईन झाला आहे. तो त्या अनुषंगाने आम्ही अजून जगभर जे आम्हाला पोहोचायचं आहे त्याची मदत गर्जे मराठीच्या अनुषंगाने आणि मदतीने नक्कीच होईल. सो ओव्हर टू आनंद सर अगेन. थँक्यू.
नमस्कार. मी ललित शिंदेची तुम्हाला ओळख करून देतो. ललित शिंदे हे सायबर सिक्युरिटीमध्ये, जसं मी सुरुवातीलाच सांगितलं की अतिशय जगप्रसिद्ध असं नाव आहे. ही इज अ एंटरप्रिनर बाय एंटरप्रिनर ॲट हार्ट आणि अनेक मोठ्या कंपन्यांच्या उच्च पदावरती त्यांनी काम केलेलं आहे. ॲज वेल ॲज ही इज अ ग्रेट मेंटर अँड अ मॅसिव्ह इन्व्हेस्टर. सो ललितजी, तुम्ही अनेक स्टार्टअप्सना मेंटर करून त्यांना पुढल्या फेजमध्ये यायला सुद्धा मदत करता. तुमचं ग्लोबल कनेक्शन पण चांगलं आहे आणि तुम्ही सायबर सिक्युरिटी ह्याचा बिझनेससाठी किंवा महाराष्ट्रातल्या एंटरप्रिनर्सनी सायबर सिक्युरिटीकडे कुठल्या नजरेने पाहावं आणि सायबर सिक्युरिटीमध्ये काय बिझनेस अपॉर्च्युनिटीज आहेत हे सांगण्यासाठी तुम्ही आज आम्हाला वेळ देताय, त्याबद्दल धन्यवाद. सो ललितजी, कॅन आय रिक्वेस्ट यू टू स्टार्ट युअर प्रेझेंटेशन और स्टार्ट युअर लेक्चर?
नमस्कार. धन्यवाद आनंदजी आणि सुभाषजी. अँड धन्यवाद सगळ्यांसाठीच. माझा आवाज व्यवस्थित येतोय
ऑल
ना?
गुड, ऑल गुड, ऑल गुड.
ग्रेट. एवढंच सांगतो की जर तुम्हाला काही प्रश्न असतील, काही असतील, तर ते चॅट विंडोमध्ये टाका. आपण थ्रूआउट द प्रेझेंटेशन ते आन्सर करू. पण मी शेवटी सुद्धा वेळ ठेवलेला आहे Q&Aसाठी, जेव्हा तुम्ही डेफिनेटली अनम्यूट करून विचारू शकता मला काही तुमचे प्रश्न जे काही असतील ते. Thank you, Anandji. The presentation is all in English, but feel free if you need, I can talk some of the topics in Marathi also. But technology as such, it is always easier to talk in English than in Marathi. पण मी अगदी म्हणजे मराठीत जन्मलोय आणि मराठीच सतत प्रमोट करत असतो इकडे पण. पण बिझनेसची लँग्वेज इंग्लिश आहे, आपण लक्षात ठेवायला पाहिजे. तर माझं इंट्रोडक्शन तर आता आनंदजींनी दिलंच आहे. मी आजच्या ह्या प्रेझेंटेशनचं मेन टॉपिक ठेवला होता का AI powered cybersecurity and how to protect innovation and why to invest in cybersecurity primarily. कारण सॅटर्डे क्लब हा प्रायमरली एंटरप्रेनर्स आणि इन्व्हेस्टर्सना जास्त प्राधान्य देतो आहे आणि ते मेंबर्स सगळे त्याच दृष्टीने नेटवर्क करतायत. तर मी म्हटलं हे प्रेझेंटेशन मी त्यांच्यासाठी प्रायमरली केलेलं आहे. आणि इट इज अ लिटल बिट हाय लेवल प्रेझेंटेशन. पण जसं मी प्रेझेंटेशन करत होतो, माझ्या लक्षात आलं का वी हॅव टू हॅव मल्टीपार्ट सिरीज. आणि मी सुरुवातीलाच आनंदजी आणि सुभाषजीशी बोललो की मी डेफिनेटली प्रयत्न करीन दर क्वार्टरला याचा नेक्स्ट पार्ट प्रेझेंट करायचा. आणि मी प्रेझेंट नाही करू शकलो तरीसुद्धा सायबर सिक्युरिटीमधले जे इतर मान्यवर मंडळी आहेत मराठीतली, त्यांना डेफिनेटली मी इन्व्हाइट करून ते अरेंज करीन त्यासाठी. आणि सो आजच्या प्रेझेंटेशनमध्ये मी मॅक्सिमम म्हणजे आय एम जस्ट गोइंग टू टच अपॉन लॉट ऑफ द हाय लेवल पॉईंट्स. The first and most important is why cybersecurity important. If you are an entrepreneur in, let's say, healthcare, or entrepreneur in some other company where you don't know why you should care about cybersecurity. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. What are the important things that you should be aware and be aware of that. And there are challenges throughout. Most of the businesses, of course, they start as a startup and become a small enterprises, and then mid enterprises, and then grow to become Fortune 500. So cybersecurity challenges are there for everyone, and I'm going to touch upon a lot of those for SMEs and how to tackle that. I'm definitely going to focus on India and talk about cyber threat landscape, but I'm going to take the global picture into mind as well, because no country is working in isolation. When it comes to cybersecurity, we all need to worry about it from global perspective. The AI, artificial intelligence, adds completely different dimension to cybersecurity, and that's a game changer. It definitely has been around as a part of the machine learning and so on for a few decades, and a lot of you might realize, as I talk through that it's not something that is invented 2 years back or 3 years back. It has been around, but definitely it has become a lot of game changer in last 2-3 years. That is for sure. From an entrepreneur or owner perspective, I would definitely touch upon some of the ways in which you can build the cyber resilient businesses. And lastly, touch upon some of the trends. Uh, there is also a few things that I wanted to cover, like specific use cases into various sectors. Compliance is a big part of cybersecurity. And I have touched upon that a little bit, but not in depth. And as I talk through it, I will talk about, what other things we can do more deep dives in the follow-ups. And based on the interest, I'll give more priorities to one thing or the other. And of course, I'll definitely give some time for the Q&A towards the end. So before we start, just a quick question for today's attendees. There was outage because of CrowdStrike upgrade. And this primarily happened on a lot of the Windows. If you're not using Windows, you are fortunate to not have this problem. But I'm just focusing on the Fortune 500. What is your guess? What was the economic cost to these Fortune 500s? And just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the chat window. I just want to quickly see what everybody thinks. There's no correct answer or wrong answer. Don't worry about it. I'll give the correct answer, but I just want to see what everybody is thinking. Please put whatever number comes to you. You think that would be the impact or cost to these guys. And I see quite a few. I think 4 and 5 probably have the majority. 2 and 3. 3 also has quite a few votes. So, it was, yes, between 5 billion to 100 billion. And if you look at, this is at the, of course, large enterprise level, where these enterprises are well equipped with a lot of cybersecurity solutions, a lot of tools, and probably very large teams that take care of cybersecurity. But in spite of that, this thing happened, and this was not really a cybersecurity issue. This was a sort of hygiene issue that most of these Fortune 500 are better at, and in spite of that, they had this big cost. So a small negligence can cause a huge impact. So at the large enterprise level, definitely they don't ignore. They definitely feel that this is a major issue. But let's look at the SMEs. Now, SMEs, for my definition, is for the small enterprises, it's under $1 billion enterprise value. And for the mid, it's under 5 to $10 billion enterprise value. And I'm pushing that to 10 billion because a lot of these Fortune 500 are now $1 trillion enterprise values, right? So again, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let's see a quick poll on what do you think? That how many SMEs go out of business if a cyber attack happens on them, and this could happen within 6 months of that cyber attack, right? I'm saying some. Come on, guys. Yeah, there's once again, don't be harsh on yourself. It's okay even if you get wrong, right? This is a quick poll just to see, and most of these answers are coming to 2, 3, and 4. Quite a few in 3. There's a few that are into the 5. Sounds good. So the correct answer there is, it's hard to know exactly how many. Definitely, if you look at the stats, it's some number above 50%, and it could be above 65%. So some of you thought 65 to 80%. Yes, that could be true as well. So even small and medium enterprises, if you're a startup, if you get attacked, you could go out of business within 6 months. And this is we understand as a founder, as an investor, as an owner of various businesses, how important it is to us, right? And we pay a lot of attention to the financials, to the operations, to the day-to-day various activities to make sure our businesses thrive in various events and so on. Cybersecurity is not to be ignored, right? The cost is very high, and the cost is literally going out of business, right? So that is very high. And that number is definitely scary. And I'm just pulling out one statistics there. This was 2 years back. The National Cybersecurity Alliance did that in in collaboration with Paychex. And their number was 60% of small, medium businesses, if they experience data breach, they go out of business within 6 months. And this is not just 1 year statistics. I think last more than 10 years that I'm looking at this, I see this repeatedly similar statistics from various stats and so on. So if you're a leader, if you're an owner, or you're an investor or a board member on one of the small or medium enterprise, why should you care about cybersecurity if that is not the main line of business, right? And this is where there are a lot of the facts proven that cybersecurity is everyone's priority, and this is also the change in shift is happening. And I did see that happening very, very fast in the last 10 decade. And I'll give you an example. I started my own cybersecurity company 10 years back, and I was primarily, please stay on the mute. If you joined just recently, you can put your questions in the chat window. I'm
गए
looking at that periodically, and I will answer those as and when time is right.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
thank
go ahead. I have muted Yogesh.
Yeah. So, in my those first few years, I was primarily on the go-to-market side. I was the chief revenue officer, and most of the enterprises, small, medium enterprises, they will least care about doing an automated incident response by changing any policies or configuration onto their network or any other infrastructure. They were kind of, oh, no, 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 don't do that. That's just not allowed, and things like that. Because they didn't know how important that was that time. And they felt that it is not required. But as these cases started coming in, and as they themselves were at the receiving end once or twice, this became a norm in last 4 or 5 years that if you don't do automated incident response, don't even talk to me. So that change of mindset is coming, and it is becoming a board level priority. I see that a lot of the chief information security officers that were ignored earlier or were always considered as a cost item by the businesses have become board level members periodically and constantly, right? So there is that change in the mindset, and the reasons are quite clear. And there's several again articles, and every article that I've cited in this, I have listed out the source, and each of that article is worth reading in itself. And I'll share this presentation, by the way. You don't need to take any screenshots or anything. This will be available as a part of the library along with the recording as well. So the key fact is it is everybody's business, but it has to flow top down, right? If the top level folks don't give it a priority, it is a matter of time that they are going to get impacted. And it would be, really their luck if they survive out of it, right? That is the key fact to know. Okay, this is the last question, I promise. But what is the total cybersecurity total addressable market in just the current year alone? Again, put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the chat window, and I'm just looking at it quickly to see what everybody is thinking. And once again, there is no correct or wrong answer. Please go ahead and speak your mind. A lot of the 4s and 5s, some 3s as well, and that's great. A lot of you do think that total addressable market is a much larger, and it is the truth. It is much larger. In fact, in current year alone, if we do cybersecurity right, it is more than $2 trillion market. And God bless us, but the current economic as well as other global situations don't help us in that particular regard, right? So how to so from the investment perspective and other perspective, this is also a very hot industry, and I haven't touched upon the artificial intelligence yet. But artificial intelligence is like putting it on a steroid. It is becoming even hotter today. And I keep telling this story many a times that in my own company, when the pandemic happened, we actually, in the US, the pandemic did not start until the April of that month. So we had already 1 quarter done. And we quickly had to adjust and pull back a lot of our go-to-market resources, cut it down to because we were a startup. We were barely cash flow positive in the year before in 2019. So in 2020 April, we pulled back a lot of our go-to-market funds in order to use the right set of startup strategies to survive first the pandemic, because you don't know whether it is 1 month or 3 months or larger. And believe it or not, we felt that, hey, we are doing the right things. In that year 2020 pandemic year, we actually grew more than 150% business in spite of pulling all the resources back. And that was eye opener to us that cybersecurity actually became, even during that time, even hotter. And the reason for that is everybody started working remotely, and the VPN became the weakness that became a point of exploit by all the criminals and adversaries and so on. And those attacks grew much, much faster. And as a result, it was even more important to every business, not just the Fortune 500s and so on. So this is the current year itself is very high TAM right now, and that growth is expected over the next 10 years, right? I'll show some other slides. Don't get too much excited, because I want to pull down some of the things as well. But it is definitely an hot industry, and the reason for that is, if you look at the adversarial industry, right, where the cyber attackers are constantly attacking and so on, that industry is almost like a third largest economy or GDP of the world. That's 10.5 trillion, right, in this current year alone. And that stats is mind-boggling that, that kind of money is getting, but this is mostly a government spending, to tell the truth, right? Because nation states is a lot bigger than for what we care about our businesses and so on. And that fact remains that government spending on that is much larger. We are in the midst of that cyber war already, right? And that is what is driving that fact. But I'm talking about still, there's a lot of business to business addressable market, and I'll present some stats for that, right, as well. So this is one stat where now suddenly you'll see that the CAGR is very high still year over year. 12.6% CAGR is one of the best. And from the investment perspective, or even from entrepreneurship perspective, if you're thinking about getting started into a cybersecurity, this is definitely a good market to be in over the next 10 years. And if I see India's involvement in creating cybersecurity tools and so on, I'm not very happy. I do see a lot of businesses that are coming in. Of course, Quick Hill is definitely a great company. Securetek, where I'm working currently, is another great company, and there are many others. I'm pretty sure that there are a lot of other industries, I mean, other entrepreneurs that are thriving into this, but they're small enough and will become big part of this change over the next 10 years. And definitely, I think this is there. But the key figure that you will notice here is in 2025, these guys are saying that it is $300 billion market cap. Then what happened to that total addressable market of 2 trillion? Where is that 1.7 trillion going? And yes, it is a completely underserved market, right? It is a completely underserved market because of not only negligence and ignorance, but there is also too much fad. There is also so much misinformation. There is also, people spend money on something that they should not be, and then they pull out their resources, thinking that, hey, this is not buying us anything. So why should we even invest in this? Or just bare minimum, right? Cybersecurity is good enough, right, for our survival, and all that contributes to that huge chunk. Believe it or not, that's a huge chunk, but that is the underserved market, right? And but it is also a great opportunity for new entrepreneurs as well as investors, right? All of that comes hand in hand. Now, if you look at the APAC, right? Now I'm talking from the cyber attack perspective, right? To some extent, and how's this industry going to grow? Because the cyber attack drives the cyber securities and so on, right? And if you look at traditionally, U.S. market has been the ripe market for cyber attacks, and then the Western Europe and so on, right? But if you look at the growth over the next 10 years, that is primarily happening in APAC. And that is mind boggling because first of all, of course, India is growing much faster than any other country from GDP wise alone. And that puts a target on your back immediately, right? And the second thing is the weakest link of a cybersecurity is the human factor itself, right? And we human tend to make a lot of silly mistakes every now and then, and there's nothing to be ashamed about that. We are human after all. And that gives rise to a lot of cybersecurity loopholes and attacks and so on. And that is fact of life, right? Do understand that, and that is growing in APAC, right? It is known thing. It was known thing before as well. It's just that the market probably was not as ripe, but it is going to be even more ripe in the next 10 years, and that is why APAC is growing much faster. So we need to pay more attention. If you are in India, definitely that is the case. Now I'm quickly switching to the artificial intelligence and what does that bring to the table, and that is very, very important, right? I mean, if you look at how a traditional cybersecurity typically works, right? It works based on, hey, we know that there are these known signatures that are bad, right? And who has the biggest database, the semantics of the world, and so on, who does the most threat intelligence in that particular regard, was the name of the game. And the predefined rules, predefined use cases was name of the games. On the contrary, if you look at today, since we started talking in this last 30 minutes, there have been probably more than millions of malwares whose signatures are not known right now that got generated on the dark web, right? And that's because the adversary is using AI. It is not just us, right? So the AI needs to be tackled with AI, right? And using a lot of the predictive analytics, a lot of the behavioral science behind it is name of the game to figure out that needle in the haystack. But then not stop there, right? There are more. In traditional once you define these rules and signatures, and then you constantly fine tune them, you constantly work on tweaking those models to reduce any false positives. But once you're done, probably tweaking it for your organization in a 6 months to a year time frame, you're all set. You're done and dusted. Those threat models work for you in protecting 99% of the times, traditionally. Now no longer, right? Now with the AI, though, cybersecurity can also get a lot of the wings, right? And that is where the enhanced modeling happens. That's where the Gen AI builds a lot of the other things where advanced correlation can reduce a lot of this noise, even from the anomaly stake, and figure out which is a real incident that needs to be looked at, and not only stop there, that hey, we detected a real critical incident that needs to be responded, but to do that automated response as well, pretty much, and providing the right set of lenses and tools to do that threat hunting constantly, right? And threat hunting is the most important part, and I'll touch upon in next few slides, and so on. Also, traditional cybersecurity is very, very limited adaptability, right? It cannot be adapted fast. AI, on the other hand, can be a continuous adaptation. It is in real time. It is in real time, and that is what changes the game. That your adversaries can in real time adjust to breach, or enter the organization. In fact, I mean, it's a known fact, a known statistics. Verizon data breach report reports it many years in a row, that almost all the organizations, there will be some weaknesses that are already exposed in the dark web. And this could be personal credentials, this could be other ways, and many a times people use same credentials personally as well as in business. Our human mind works like that. We cannot do it too many storage in our, for small things like password, right, and things like that. So it works like that, and as a result, and similar things, right, with the applications, with the legacy tools, you deploy it once and try to live with it for 10 years, 15 years, sometimes decades, right, and so on. The other thing is traditional cybersecurity relies a lot on human intervention, where the security operations center plays a lot bigger role, where somebody is constantly looking at it and trying to do something. AI powered doesn't require that, right? There is some requirement. Believe it or not, humans are the most intelligent anyway, and that is going to remain so. But they should be using their time wisely in threat hunting and improving the posture, rather than trying to figure out. If they figure out that hey, there was an auto incident reported and responded, they try to figure out hey, similar behaviors has been exhibited by me, how many other devices or users or applications and things like that. That is what we call improving your security posture, rather than trying to first even find that needle in the haystack, right, and so on. So there's a lot like that, but let me touch upon a few examples of this, right. So how's and I'm going to, there are probably 10 other topics in how AI's role in cybersecurity can be defined, but I'm just picked up three: behavioral analytics, and this doesn't necessarily mean user behavior. It could mean application behavior, devices, or network behavior, right? A lot of different ways, and then the threat detection and response, and continuous learning and adaptation, right? And I'm going to give some specific examples to that. For example, here is a for the behavioral analytics, people logging in, day out within a specific time period. 8 to 5 is your working hours, and obviously there will be some variation, which could be 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, right? And that is what it shows. It calculates on this left side graph. But suddenly one fine day, if you come at 5 a.m. in the, and how you track it is different, right? It could be based on login, logout. It could be based on your card check-in, check-out. It could be based on timesheets. It could be anything, right? Suddenly one fine day, if you are into that 5 a.m. slot, that's an anomaly, right? Is this the real user, or what is going on here, right? But AI can detect that in real time and can do a lot of the wonders. But not just that, right? Individually, it can also detect in a group manner, right? Most of the people behave in this group in a particular way, and this could be a finance group, or this could be R&D group, right, and so on. Their interaction with certain servers could be plotted like that, and the minute something goes outside those boundaries, that's an anomaly, right? These red dots are the anomalies, and this could be, hey, this group never exchanges more than, let's say, 1 gigabit of traffic with the finance databases, right, in a day. And suddenly one fine day, there was more than 10 gigabyte of data. That's an anomaly, right? So these are the techniques that can be done. And here are certain examples. Obviously, I have taken it from a real AI-based tool with their permission, without disclosing too much. That these are just anomalies that are tracked and shown, right? That hey, over a time series, you can plot this and show what kind of anomalies are being tracked and so on, which could be sudden traffic increase, and this could be user based, this could be devices based, this could be applications based, and so on. And I'm coming to the network as well, but yes, it could be based on a certain network devices thing as well, right? And so on. Actually, yeah, this could be both ways, right? So I think in these two slides, I'm pretty much including everything in that. Actually, the traffic increase and so on could be from the network device perspective and so on, or it could be a server based, right? Now, this slide is loaded, so bear with me. Uh, so there are certain questions. I'll come back to it. Um, Obviously, this can also become a very good source of revenue. That is absolutely true, and that is, cybersecurity. That is what I live and breathe, right? And it is a major revenue source for most of the cybersecurity platform or vendor companies, even services companies, right, and so on. So it starts like that, and there's a sky is the limit. And I do feel that India is ripe with right set of talent, a lot of the entrepreneurial qualities, a lot of the investments at stake, and we need to have more and more cybersecurity companies originating from India and Maharashtra, particularly, right? And I'm interested in that constantly. I do talk about that constantly. And thanks a lot for that question. But coming to the threat detection and response, right? This is a little bit loaded question, a loaded slide. What it is showing you in this one slide is any AI-based cybersecurity tool, you got to look at, does it take into account all your physical network, physical devices and assets, which could be any types of operating systems. It could be Microsoft Windows, it could be the Linux geeks, or it could be the Mac, or you could be iOS, Apple's, or Android, Google Androids accessing various cloud-based servers, and you could have a lot of cloud SaaS applications and whatnot, right? There could be a lot of third-party tools like Salesforce and Microsoft Office 365. That is very, very common. Almost, one of the funniest thing is when I was entering the Middle East market more than 5 years back, a lot of the people there told me, oh, we don't use cloud. And I said, oh, do you use Microsoft 365? And almost everybody said, yes, we do use Microsoft 365. And I told them that your data is in the cloud. So, most of the people don't realize that when they say that, hey, we don't use cloud, but then they are interacting with the cloud every day in and out, and they don't even realize that, right? Uh, Similarly, does it take into account identity? Identity is very important. Who's doing what, right? Which particular individual, and these identities are very important. Even from running the shared application, shared various things, people say that, oh, on that shared server, we don't know exactly. There are 50 people logged in. We don't know exactly who did that. How do you get to the bottom of it? And identity is very, very important. As I said, the personal credentials are mostly, very, very easy to break. Right, and almost, Yahoo got breached, your social securities are breached, your credit cards are breached by, a lot of these large Fortune 500 enterprises getting breached, and that data getting stolen and being available in the dark web. No fault of yours, right? My own Yahoo has been there in the dark web for quite some time, right? But that doesn't bother me as long as you make sure that you use multi-factor authentication, you use a lot of other things. So when somebody says that, hey, I got a message from you with your picture, but it is from some other number, and I said, you got it, right? I'm in your contact, and you got that particular message from somebody who is not in your contact, even though they are choosing my picture. My picture is available on the social media for anybody to download, right? That doesn't mean, you got to be cautious in who you respond and what you do with that, right? And they were basically reaching out saying that we don't think Lalit will ever say that, right? So that should also trigger that, right? It's a behavioral pattern change that you can pretty much notice quickly, and so on. And then the most important thing is, does it take into account the legacy, right? There's a lot of legacy infrastructure around. If you especially look at the manufacturing or healthcare or even from the government, I am coming across that constantly, that there are certain systems that are decades old and not upgraded at all. And of course, have so many weaknesses that can be leveraged, that can be used by hackers to gain access, right? And then this funnel is showing you that, AI can help almost in every stage, right? I talked about this predictive security analytics through behavioral analytics, just sort of tip of the iceberg. But then there is this very advanced AI powered correlation and detection, right? Which takes it to and each of this could be an industry in itself, right? And there are already a lot of the companies doing exactly that. In fact, user entity behavioral analytics was a category in Gartner more than a decade back. And then those companies got folded into more broader, right? Exabeam started like that and became a next-gen SIEM and so on. And then similarly, AI powered, why stop at detection, but respond, right? AI powered response is very, very important. And that too in the real time. When an attack happens at 2 a.m., you could have 24/7 night shift and so on. But many a times that response from the human is delayed even by, an hour delay could be make or break, right? So having an automated real-time response is always good. And then a human coming over and looking over the change to make any adjustments, any threat hunting, any security posture improvements. That's a better model, and that's why the human is there. But having AI assist that makes them. One of my customer used the term that my SOC is super SOC, or they are nuclearized by your solution. That was the key term that they used, and I felt, yes, that is what happens when you start using AI in your day-to-day life, doing that, right? And then 24/7 monitoring of all of this, right? So that you constantly know any anomaly happening and constantly correlate that to figure out, is this an attack or is this okay? right? Somebody's logged in at 5 a.m. doesn't necessarily mean it's an attack. They just logged in to do real work, right? Rest of their behavior fits the normal pattern, but that anomaly is noticed. That connection is noticed. Now, after 2 days, if they start behaving differently, start changing a lot of it will be detected, right? And that historical context can be kept intact by the AI. For a human, we forget after 1 month, we don't know what we did exactly a month back, where we went, where we spent, unless we have some pictures, right? Or something. So that, is where AI comes into a lot of the limelight. And I'm a pretty much a visual guy, right? So I like to see a lot of the things visually, and that's why I put this slide. And I'm still, talking at the high level. I'm not going pretty much deep into it at all, because this continuous learning and adaptation requires you to understand every element that plays a role, right? And it could be your employees, your partners, your customers. So that is a human element. It could be all the applications you own, you license, you use from third parties, and so on. Your partners or your employees use, and things like that. All of your devices, whether it is mobile devices or laptops or workstations or servers or cloud, right? All of those need to be playing that role. And last but not the least is your data moving through either the network or the cloud, right? All of that needs to be monitored, and there has to be a continuous learning and adaptation based on that. And that is very, very important. So here is another sort of a take on that, right? This is on the left hand side is what we used to call security operations center triad. That if you want to have a comprehensive cybersecurity, you need to have network, you need to have endpoint, and you need to have all of your identity, all of your legacy, all of your logs, applications, and other things taken into account through a next-gen SIM, and at least for the compliance purpose and so on. But then there has to be a glue that ties all this together, right? Where there is a continuous risk monitoring and adaptive security posture happening through that. And we used to call it XDR 10 years back. And that is what the solution we built, artificial intelligence based XDR. And one of the biggest plus point of that is that when Fortune 500 tries to build it on their own, many a times they will have 30, 40 other tools because each of these have a lot of subcategories. And there could be a tool just for that specific category. And that is really good. You want to have that. But then integration among these tools is a nightmare for most of the CISOs. If you talk to the top 500 CISOs, the topmost thing that worries them is the integration of this defense in depth, right? And having everything collated and being that single pane of glass. And that is where that glue comes into the play, right? For that single pane visibility and, having that comprehensive detection and response into it. I'm going to play this 1.5 minute video at the most, right? And I hope that you guys like it. This is done more than a decade back by MIT guys. I was talking with them and I loved this. We incorporated a lot of these techniques in our product more than a decade back. There is no proprietary material. This is available really into the YouTube itself. So I'm just going to go quiet for a minute and put this. I hope it is.
There is no sound, I suppose.
That's okay. It's just a music.
Yeah.
It's just a music. Yeah. So what it was showing is, over a period of time, you are constantly learning and using it back as a feedback loop to keep learning more and more and more. And in the process, what you get is you get better at your cybersecurity detection and so on. In a sense, and these machine learning techniques were decades old, right? It was just applied to cybersecurity more than a decade back in predictive analytics, and Gen AI took it to the next level, right? And how I'm going to start talk about this slide as well. But it was such a, explained in a layman terms in 1 minute. I feel that that was an eye opener. I show that to many CISOs, and they get it immediately that how this stuff works. That it is not something that you are learning and forgetting. The AI is constantly learning and improving, which is what matters, right? And then Gen AI can then think through it and create its own model or variations, right? For a traditional security, if you give a slight variation of that 64-bit signature, it won't be able to detect that. On the other hand, when you give it to the AI, it will detect that anomaly in an instance, right? And that is identifying those unknown, right? Unknown unknowns. And that is why it is a superior way to defend yourself. And it is also a lot more reasonable when a platform does like that, right? It also accelerates various things. It definitely provides a better security. It hasn't that automated incident response that most of the people think about. Hey, even if somebody tells me that, hey, there is this problem, what am I going to do I have that manpower to deal with it, right? Many large companies were suffering because of that. So, and a lot of large cybersecurity vendors have already taken this into account. And but this white paper is really good. It does talk about the positive and negative impacts or effects of the artificial intelligence on cybersecurity. So I've just taken the positive effects of that into this slide and summarized that. But hopefully you see that throughout my presentation, although I just showed you only the tip of the iceberg, and I'm going to conclude in next 5 minutes or so that we have some time for the Q&A. But as I said, the artificial intelligence is not just available to us, it is available to our adversaries as well, right? And they're constantly using it as well. Now, this is taken from an ethical hacking slide, so nothing wrong in this. I know there's a cricket match going on, and thank you so much for still listening to me in spite of that. I'm myself a cricket fanatic, so I understand. Don't worry. And this is recorded, so you can view it later as well. But what I'm showing here is, the AI has risks. AI has negative impacts. So, using it wisely is very, very important, right? There is already AI based automated malware, which I talked about right from the beginning. But then there are AI based other AI aided attack, AI layered multi-layered attacks, and so on, which are very sophisticated and difficult to decipher, difficult to understand, difficult to get into. And this article that I've sourced here is really good at talking about this in detail. And that's why I listed out that here. But another topic that could be 1 hour presentation in itself. But coming back to our threat landscape in India and our impact, right? The attacks on APAC are growing and are going to continue to grow, right? A year back itself, APAC was leading in terms of the attacks, and this will remain so. And the DSCI, which many of you might know already, if you are cybersecurity aware, that is a very close friends doing this, and they did produce the cyber threat report in conjunction with Quickhill, another great friends there to do this research and put it out there, and it's available on the Google. You just Google and you'll get that. A lot of great insights into that. And Maharashtra, they just tracked only 10 states here in this particular. Maharashtra is in the middle, but 71.68 million malwares, right? Detected variations detected in that. And see, the industries that are underserved in cybersecurity are the most affected, right? Many a times, if you look at any of the your car dealership or others, they might be giant, but if you ask them, or DMart, for example, right, which is like a Walmart grocery stores all over the world, they use your credit card every day. If you ask them what kind of cybersecurity they have, beyond firewall, I would be surprised if they have really good cybersecurity, right? Which is artificial intelligence based, right? They might have more traditional cybersecurity now. They are giant, and I hope that they have that. But if they don't, they are very prime to getting breached and that data getting lost and so on, right? So I'm just going to keep 2 minutes on this slide. On if you are a small, medium enterprise, right, what should you do? And again, I'm citing a source here, which probably is a good article, and there might be other trusted mentors, partners that you should rely upon to make sure that you have a better hygiene, you build continuity planning. In case an incident happens, you have something in your mind what you are going to do, so that incident response and handling is very important. Do some risk analysis yourself, and these things don't cost much. Don't think that, hey, doing cybersecurity means it's going to be a lot of spend on my end. No, it is not. There are a lot of ways you can do this cheaply, just by educating yourself, just by getting on to becoming cyber aware, right? And so on. And of course, the future, right? Artificial intelligence is driving cybersecurity crazy, right? Both ways. And quantum computing is going to add that third dimension. It is coming. It is actually already here, right? But the blockchain and AI together, I have already seen a lot of different quantum resistant cryptographic techniques and so on. But that is one part of it. That is just not it, right? Because the adversaries are going to use that same thing, right? Just like AI is a dual-edged sword, so is the quantum computing, and so on. But there are techniques like AI enhanced deception technologies. I showed the AI powered threat hunting and the AI powered some of the other things. But there are AI powered security operations centers, right? Where the SOC engineers, they are not doing day-to-day rule writing, but they're just using various voice commands. Hey, I saw this, can you tell me how many other users are seeing something similar, or how many other network devices are seeing something similar? And in an instant they see that picture, and that is what they want, so that they can do that threat hunting and improve the posture quickly, right? And this is this even at the state level, that is the cyber war that industries, I mean the governments are playing as well, right? So this article from Sigma Sol is really another good one, talking about that and so on. So, I'm sorry, I'm taking a little bit 10 minutes over the time, but I'm going to stop there and going to take any additional questions. I think the summary slide is there, but you guys saw, right? I'm showing you that it is important. It is everybody's responsibility, especially if you are at the top level. Definitely it starts with you. You can build cyber resilient businesses, and many a times that cost is not as much. So don't ignore that. AI is your friend. Use that. If somebody says that, AI means, of course, when the devil is always in the detail, right? That's why the trusted experts will matter a lot, and use them. And if you're trying to build cybersecurity tools, or investing into those, it is hot. I would highly recommend it. I want to invest into that in India, and I'm not seeing much in the global entrepreneurship conclave. I clearly talked about it. There are a lot of good initiatives, though. Definitely, Pune MCCIA has started initiative for cyber excellence. How do we make Pune as a cybersecurity excellence center? And similarly, many other educational institutes are doing that as well. So with that, I'll stop. And Anandji, back to you.
Yes,
But
thank you very much. Thank you very much. There was what a high point of the entire thing, I would say, that you have highlighted the importance of investing in cybersecurity, and you have told people about the others who are, dark domains of the uh, internet. They are always there a step ahead, and how we should be very careful about protecting our business. So in with my limited knowledge, that is what I could understand, but I'm sure people are there interested in contacting you. So I will be sharing your contact details. Those who wish to invest in cybersecurity, those who wish to get their businesses protected by cybersecurity, Garje Marathi Global has very strong cybersecurity network led by Lalit Shinde only. He is also with MCCIA, which is a Pune-based company, a Pune-based non-profit. So, having said that, other high point which I would say about today's meeting is that though more than 150 people registered, not many joined, but those who joined did not leave at all through the meeting. So, those who did not join, it is their loss. That's what I can say. So, Laliji,
and
thank you.
hopefully they'll see the presentation on YouTube, Anandji. I'm pretty sure the cricket match sometimes takes the precedence.
Yeah, yeah,
We got to
but that's
understand.
okay. That is okay. We
And
will
there could be
be
other
we
personal
no.
reasons. Yes,
I'm going to very strict sort of
that is true.
note on that people, because we
To
stopped
reserve the
registrations.
spot.
We
Yes, yes.
stopped registrations. So those who did not attend is not correct. But having said that, it was a lovely session, and thanks a lot, Lalitji, for sparing your time in spite of your busy schedule. I know you are. Means whenever I speak with Lalitji, half the time he's in flight. So he's going from one place to another place. So still you spared this time. Thank you very much. Garje Marathi Global and Saturday Club Global Trust have come up with this very innovative approach wherein we can connect, we can have the collaborations, we can have brains coming together. All the questions or any queries can be emailed to Garje Marathi or to Lalit, and we will answer that. We can, of course, have small meetings also to explore business opportunities here onwards. I would say we are going to continue this series every fortnightly, and next time we are going to have very prominent industrialist from US as well as from Maharashtra, who is driving global expansion and growth focused strategies. He's international commerce, mergers and acquisition, industrial automation, EV test equipments, and also in robotics. He has his factories in Chakan, and he also has his production units, factories, and offices in US. So hopefully in 15 days time we'll have Netresh Rege with us. We are waiting, means in principle he has agreed, but we are waiting for his permission. So let us all stay connected and make most of this association. Garje Marathi and Saturday Club Global Trust, we have signed MOU, so we will be working together in many fronts. With having said that, thank you very much. Lalitji, thanks a lot, and thanks to all participants for being there, and we will be in touch. With everybody's permission, I will stop recording as well as I will end the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.